When most people hear the word genes, they think of something fixed, something inherited from their parents, etched in stone, unchangeable. But that idea couldn't be further from the truth. Yes, we inherit our DNA. But the way that DNA is expressed, meaning which genes get turned on and which stay turned off, isn't set in stone. It's dynamic, and it responds to the choices we make every single day. This field of study is called epigenetics, and it has completely shifted how we understand human potential and health. Think of your genome like the hardware of a computer. It holds all the possibilities, the raw capacity. But your lifestyle, your behaviors, your environment, that's the software. That's what determines how the hardware runs. And just like a software update can radically change how a device functions, your daily habits can modify the way your genes express themselves, either pushing you toward health, energy, and performance, or pulling you toward fatigue, illness, and decline. What's remarkable is how fast these changes can occur. Studies have shown that just a single night of poor sleep, one bout of intense stress, or a few days of poor eating can lead to measurable changes in gene expression. On the flip side, making consistent choices in the direction of health, movement, nutrition, deep rest, mindset can flip the genetic switches in a completely different direction. You're not stuck with what you inherited. You're not a prisoner of your DNA. You are the driver of its expression. Let me give you an example. There are genes that regulate inflammation in the body. These are critical for healing. But when chronically activated, they contribute to almost every major disease we know: heart disease, cancer, diabetes, even depression. Whether those inflammatory genes get dialed up or down depends heavily on how you live, what you eat, how you sleep, whether you move, how you deal with stress. Your genes don't act in isolation. They're responding moment by moment to the signals you send them. This is empowering. It means that your biology is not just reacting to the past, your ancestry, your family history. It's also reacting to the present. Right now, today, your choices are shaping your genetic future. Every healthy decision sends a positive signal to your biology, giving your system instructions to build resilience, to repair, to thrive. And the more consistently you send those signals, the more you reinforce a genetic pattern that promotes long-term vitality and peak performance. What you do every day isn't just about today. It's about programming your body for tomorrow. You have the ability to write your future in real time at the genetic level. That's not science fiction. That's biology. One of the most powerful levers we have to influence our biology at the genetic level is movement. Not just exercise for the sake of burning calories or looking a certain way, but consistent, deliberate physical activity that sends specific chemical messages throughout the body. When you move, you're not just using muscles. You're triggering a complex cascade of molecular signals that talk directly to your DNA, instructing it to express in ways that favor energy production, resilience, and longevity. Let's start with a simple truth. Our bodies are built to move. Movement is how we evolved. It's how our systems communicate with each other. Muscles with the brain, heart with the lungs, nerves with the immune system. But more than that, movement tells your genes, we are alive, we are adapting, we are thriving, and your genes respond during exercise. Hundreds of genes are activated, some within minutes, particularly those involved in mitochondrial function, anti-inflammatory responses, and even brain plasticity. These changes aren't random. They're your body's intelligent way of optimizing performance and survival. For instance, regular aerobic activity has been shown to upregulate genes that govern glucose transport and insulin sensitivity, which means better metabolic control and more stable energy. Resistance training activates genes that signal for muscle growth and repair, while also boosting hormones that slow aging and sharpen mental focus. And it's not just what you do in the gym. Daily movement in any form, like walking or stretching, continues to send those adaptive messages that keep your biology tuned and responsive. What's even more fascinating is how exercise alters the expression of genes associated with disease risk. People who engage in regular physical activity show reduced expression of genes linked to inflammation, cancer progression, and neural degeneration. At the same time, they show increased expression of protective genes that support cardiovascular health, neural growth, and immune regulation. These are changes you can't see in the mirror, but they are absolutely happening behind the scenes every time you move. And this isn't something that requires perfection. You don't need to be an elite athlete. What matters is consistency, regular signals over time. Your biology doesn't demand high intensity all the time. It responds to rhythm, to habit. Even short daily sessions of movement have measurable effects on gene expression. It's about building a conversation with your genes through action every day. So the next time you lace up your shoes, remember, this isn't just a workout, it's a genetic intervention. You are altering the way your body performs at its most fundamental level. You are rewriting the code for endurance, focus, and strength, not just for today, but for years to come. Food isn't just fuel, it's information. Every bite you take is a signal, a chemical message that interacts with your biology and influences how your genes behave. That's the core of nutritional epigenetics. The nutrients, compounds, and even colors in the foods you eat have the power to turn genes on or off, to enhance health, sharpen focus, increase energy, and even reduce the risk of disease. This isn't just about calories in and calories out. It's about gene expression and the way food writes messages into your body at the cellular level. When you eat a meal, you're not just satisfying hunger, you're triggering metabolic reactions that affect inflammation, hormone regulation, cellular repair, and energy output. For instance, certain compounds found in berries, leafy greens, turmeric, garlic, or cruciferous vegetables like broccoli can activate protective genes, genes that enhance detoxification, repair damaged cells, and neutralize free radicals. These aren't abstract benefits. These are real, measurable changes happening inside your cells, changing the way your body functions from the inside out. The reverse is also true. Ultra-processed foods high in refined sugars, unhealthy fats, and synthetic additives can activate genes that promote inflammation, oxidative stress, and fat storage. These foods don't just make you feel sluggish, they're sending a genetic signal that accelerates aging and breaks down resilience. That's why how you eat matters just as much as what you eat, because every meal is a choice between reinforcing genetic patterns of health or patterns of breakdown. What's especially interesting is how fast these changes can happen. In some studies, switching to a whole food, nutrient-dense diet has been shown to alter gene expression in a matter of days. You start seeing increased expression of genes associated with mitochondrial energy production, reduced expression of genes involved in stress and inflammation, and even positive shifts in the microbiome, which in turn affect your immune system and brain chemistry. Food is shaping you in real time. Now think about that over the course of weeks, months, or years. You're not just feeding a body, you're sculpting a biological system that's optimized for performance, clarity, and long-term vitality. When you commit to eating whole, colorful, unprocessed foods, foods that are close to their natural state, you're not just improving your mood or stabilizing your energy, you're literally reprogramming your cells to perform better. That's powerful. It's not about being perfect. It's about developing a consistent relationship with food that sends the right message to your genes, a message that says heal, adapt, thrive. Because every time you choose a food that supports your biology, you're not just eating, you're participating in the active design of your future health. Sleep isn't just about rest. It's a genetic reset. When you close your eyes and drift into deep sleep, your body enters one of its most biologically active states. This is when gene expression shifts dramatically. Thousands of genes involved in repair, detoxification, immune function, and brain health either ramp up or shut down, depending on the quality and timing of your sleep. So when we talk about improving health and performance at the genetic level, sleep isn't optional. It's foundational. Your body runs on a 24-hour rhythm known as the circadian clock, and it's hardwired into nearly every cell. This internal clock controls the expression of roughly 10% of your genes. That means whether you sleep in sync with your natural rhythm or constantly fight it with late nights, artificial light, or irregular routines, you're affecting how your genes behave. And those behaviors influence your energy levels, mood, cognitive function, and even your long-term risk of disease. When your sleep is consistent and aligned with the natural light deck cycle, you give your genes the cues they need to perform essential tasks. Deep sleep triggers the release of growth hormone, which facilitates tissue repair, muscle recovery, and fat metabolism. REM sleep helps process emotional memory and supports neuroplasticity, which affects learning and creativity. During these stages, specific genes involved in inflammation suppression and DNA repair become more active. That's your biology doing maintenance, cleanup, and optimization, all while you're lying still. But the moment your sleep becomes disrupted, whether through chronic insomnia, irregular sleep schedules, or even just too much screen time late at night, the expression of these beneficial genes drops. Instead, stress genes become more active, inflammation increases, insulin sensitivity declines, and your immune function starts to deteriorate. That's why just a few nights of poor sleep can make you feel mentally foggy, emotionally irritable, and physically off. It's not just fatigue, it's your entire biological system operating on compromised instructions. And there's another layer to this. Your circadian system doesn't just regulate sleep, it also affects how your body responds to food, exercise, and stress throughout the day. If your sleep is misaligned, it sends conflicting signals to your genes. Imagine trying to run a high-performance engine with the timing off. It sputters. That's exactly what happens in your cells when your circadian rhythm is disrupted. So prioritizing sleep isn't about slowing down. It's about optimizing the core machinery that drives everything else. Getting sunlight in the morning, reducing blue light at night, keeping a consistent bedtime, and protecting your sleep window. These small daily actions are actually sending powerful genetic instructions that determine how well your body recovers, how sharp your mind feels, how resilient your system becomes. The truth is, every night offers a choice. You can fight your biology, or you can align with it. And when you align with it, your genes respond in ways that elevate your health, deepen your recovery, and expand your potential. There's a powerful connection between your mental state and your genetic expression. And it's not just a metaphor, it's a measurable reality. The way you handle stress, the thoughts you allow to dominate your mind, the emotions you return to again and again, these aren't just psychological experiences. They're biochemical signals. And those signals influence which genes get activated or suppressed. Your mindset has a molecular impact, and it can either strengthen your body or gradually break it down. When you experience chronic stress, whether it's due to work, relationships, financial pressure, or even the internal dialogue you run on repeat, your body responds by activating a stress cascade. Hormones like cortisol flood the system, and while short bursts of this can be useful in emergencies, long-term exposure shifts gene expression in a direction that promotes inflammation, weakens immune function, and impairs neuroplasticity. This creates a biological environment where performance, focus, and health all begin to suffer, often without you realizing it's even happening. But what's remarkable is how quickly things can shift when you change your internal environment. Practices like mindfulness, breath work, journaling, and simply learning to reinterpret stress as a challenge instead of a threat can dramatically alter the chemical messengers moving through your bloodstream. These changes, in turn, send a new set of instructions to your genes, ones that promote cellular repair, elevate mood-regulating neurotransmitters, and even slow the aging process. You're not just feeling better in the moment, you're reshaping your biology. Gratitude is another powerful example. Just a few minutes a day of focusing on what's going right, on what you're thankful for, can activate genes associated with dopamine signaling and immune strength. You create a feedback loop. The more you train your brain to perceive the world through a lens of possibility and meaning, the more your body begins to express genes that support vitality and performance. And this isn't theoretical. It's been demonstrated in both brain imaging studies and epigenetic research. What's critical here is understanding that you don't need to eliminate all stress. That's not realistic. Life will always present friction. But what you can do is build emotional resilience, develop an inner state that allows you to respond rather than react. That subtle shift in how you interpret and metabolize experience makes all the difference. It's the difference between a genetic signal that prepares you for adaptation and growth, and one that pushes your system into chronic survival mode. The most successful people, those who sustain performance over time, aren't the ones who avoid stress. They're the ones who learn to shift their internal response to it. They've trained their biology to become more flexible, more adaptable. And that kind of resilience doesn't just happen at the psychological level. It happens at the level of gene expression. Every time you choose a mindset of growth, calm, or presence in the face of pressure, you're altering your genes in ways that support your long-term strength.